Today we're continuing our ice fishing previews with district biologists from around the state. I'm Mike Anderson with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Joining me now is BJ Kratz. You manage the southeast part of the state. How are water levels in the southeast?
Well, they're not too bad, all things considered. You know, on the average, I'd say we're down about 18 to 24 inches in most water bodies. We were fortunate enough to pick up a little, October rain, which is good for soil moisture and good for potential in the spring, but we didn't gain much in terms of water.
BJ, everybody always wants to know about fish populations. Let's start out with walleye in the southeast.
Southeast District is pretty good shape for walleyes. As I had mentioned before, we have about almost 55,000 acres of opportunity out there for folks, and 131 active lakes this year in the Southeast District. Of those lakes, we had 28 lakes where we sampled walleye at a rate we consider good, which is about 10 per net night. So walleye population-wise, we're in good shape in the Southeast District, probably better than we've ever been.
A couple of, lakes that somebody could catch a walleye if they went to.
Starting, down in the far southeast, Four Corners Lake is a good lake. We had a good sample there this year. A lot of 14 to 16-inch fish, so if you like table fare. Fox Lake, Barnes County, is always a good lake. Traditionally, it's got good numbers of fish, and plus there's chances for trophies. Farther to the north, you have Big Mallard Marsh, which is a great walleye fishery. It's been a consistent producer over the years. Doesn't see a lot of pressure in the wintertime just because it's kind of off the beaten path, but our last couple of years surveys have been really good up there in terms of walleye numbers, and you're looking at about 18-inch average size, so good size fish there.
Let's move into our state fish, the northern pike.
Northern pike, we're in pretty good shape actually. A couple of good pike waters to check out would be Flood Lake. We got about a 3 to 4 pound average and big numbers in there. Grass Lake is another one down in the far southeast. Flood, Grass Lake, Pipestem Reservoir is another one. Consistently is a good pike producer. A lot of table fare size fish out there, and if you're looking for the monster, I always steer people to lakes, bigger lakes like Lake Ashtabula, for example. They have there's some 20-pound plus fish in there that we do sample, so they're there.
BJ, you have some of the best panfish fishing in the state. Let's start with perch.
Yep, we've got a lot of perch opportunity out there in the landscape right now, probably more than we've ever had in terms of opportunity. You have to look a little harder to catch quality size fish, but it appears from this sampling this year that we've got a resurgence in some of our populations where we are seeing some of those fish get bigger again. Good places to try for that would be North Eccleston. North Hobart last year was excellent for people. And if you like lots of numbers and action, Middle Eccleston or Moon Lake in Barnes County is good. There's just a lot of opportunity. Shock Lake is another one that would be worth checking out. We have a lot of good perch numbers in there and pretty good average size. So,
how are crappies doing in your district?
Crappies, we're sitting down a little bit probably in Jamestown Reservoir, which is the bread and butter of the crappie fishing in the southeast. Pipestem is coming back a little bit. We're seeing some adult fish, not as much reproduction as we'd like to see, but we still have excellent numbers of crappies in Jamestown Reservoir.
Any other panfish in the southeast?
We've got some bluegill opportunities. Clawson Springs has showed a rebound in our bluegill fishing opportunity. Pheasant Lake, that's another one. We have strong bluegill populations.
BJ, ice fishing is a great opportunity to take somebody new out fishing. Game and Fish a few years back even has a free ice fishing weekend. When is that? And explain that a little bit.
Right. Well, basically you don't need a license to go ice fishing that weekend. And as you alluded to, ice fishing is one of those things that it doesn't take a lot of equipment. And I would invite folks that would like to try it, maybe, if they're looking for a rod or something. We actually have a few rods at our office here that we loan out to folks if they want to go try it. Certainly share information on where they might have the best chance of catching fish, and maybe a few tips and techniques on how to catch a particular fish species if they're interested in them.
And that weekend is actually Christmas Day and the day after, December 25th and 26th, for residents only.
Right, and if a lot of variables come into how active you want to be, if we have a day like today or similar, then It's really great to get out and experience it. You don't necessarily need a shelter or anything like that if you have a nice calm day and the sun's shining, and get out there and take advantage of those opportunities where they're as good as they are, because it's probably never going to get any better.
Overall, ice fishing in the Southeast should be good.
It should be very good. We had a good summer, and I expect the same for the winter.
A lot of great information, BJ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joining me now is North Central Fisheries District Supervisor Jason Lee. Jason, in the North Central, you also manage Lake Audubon, a popular ice fishing lake. How are water levels on Lake Audubon this year?
Well, it's managed by the Corps of Engineers and the Bureau of Reclamation, so they typically stay pretty steady. It usually fluctuates about 2 feet from the summer elevation till the winter elevation.
Okay, let's move into fish populations on Audubon. How are walleyes doing?
It's looking good, you know, similar to past years. A good number of those 14 to 20 inch walleyes and with a few bigger fish mixed in, so yeah, it's looking good.
How are the northern pike on Lake Audubon?
Yeah, they're doing well. A couple of strong year classes out there, and there's always an opportunity to catch a big pike out of Lake Audubon.
Okay, any other panfish or other fish species on Audubon?
Quite a few perch in Lake Audubon, but typically they're pretty small, and most of them end up getting released back again, but occasionally anglers keep a few.
Ice anglers this winter, if they run into a game fish creel clerk, take a few moments and answer the questions.
Yeah. Every third year we do a winter creel survey on Lake Audubon, so it's time to do that again. We'll have the clerk out working around Lake Audubon at different locations. So if you happen to bump into that clerk, just take a few minutes out of your time and share your experience from that day. So that gives us some pretty good information that we use for managing Lake Audubon.
Jason, let's move into your district lakes in the North Central. How are water levels in the lakes?
Well, they're down. You know, we've been dry for quite a while. They're down anywhere from 1 to maybe 4 feet in extreme cases. But luckily, we haven't suffered any summer kills this year. So the fish populations are still hanging in there, and there's good opportunity now, even with the lower water levels.
Okay, any potential winter kill, too early to tell, access issues?
You know, we don't have any that are really shallow, but we've seen in past years that if you get a bunch of snow that stays on the lake for a long time, it can be a fairly deep lake and still have winter kill. So it really depends on how long the snow hangs around.
Okay, let's move into fish populations on your district lakes. Let's start out with walleyes.
Sure, we use our summer netting survey to kind of gauge how our populations are doing. A few of the lakes I would suggest for walleye in the North Central would be Loon Lake, Antelope, Clear, Stober, Cottonwood, Davis WPA. Both Brecken and Holmes have decent walleye populations, and Brush Lake would be another one for walleye.
Jason, how about our state fish, the northern pike?
Buffalo Lodge has a good population of northern pike. Lake George, Balta Dam showed pretty good catch this year. A couple in McLean County, Crooked Lake and Long Lake, Rice Lake and McCody, and both east and west of Rhoda Lakes showed good numbers of pike this year.
Okay, panfish, perch.
Yeah, a lot of our lakes in the district have perch. They aren't all perch of big size, but some of the lakes that showed some bigger perch were Antelope Lake, Lake Richard, and Stober Lake.
Okay, how about bluegills? You have, like, Lake Metagoshi is a good bluegill lake, right?
Yeah, bluegills in Lake Metagoshi, Nelson Lake, and then the bluegills are coming back in Harmony Lake too, so there's a good number of decent-sized bluegill in there.
Any other fish species, Jason, in the wintertime?
Crappie and Nelson Lake. We don't have a lot of crappie lakes in the North Central, but Nelson would be one for crappie.
Okay, and ice fishing's always a great time to take somebody out new fishing as well, right?
Right, yeah. We have a number of community ponds scattered throughout the district that would be great places to take somebody new out fishing. One example would be up at the State Fair Pond. That gets stocked pretty heavily during the summer with panfish, so that would be a good spot to take somebody new out fishing.
So overall in the North Central District and Lake Audubon, ice fishing should be good this winter?
Should be, yeah. Hopefully access is good and the snow doesn't pile up too much, but the fish populations are there.
A lot of great information, Jason. Thank you.
You bet.
Joining me now is Northeast District Supervisor Randy Hiltner. Randy, how are water levels in the Northeast?
Oh, I think we're down around 1 to 2.5 feet in most of our water bodies from that dry spring and summer.
And how does that affect things for ice fishing?
It's just a matter of if we get too much snow or not.
Everybody's always interested in fish populations. Let's start out with walleyes in the Northeast.
Okay, we've got several really good walleye fisheries in terms of size and quantity. If you go down to Lake Cole, very good abundance plus some big fish. Dry Lake in Foster County is really good walleye fishery, lots of 20-inch and below. Going west, Herdsfield Tuffy Lake has a very nice walleye population with some big fish. Silver Lake WMA also is very good, lots of 20-inch and below. And Goose Lake is a very good walleye fishery.
Okay, northern pike, our state fish, how are the populations in the Northeast?
Yeah, we've got numerous lakes with pike in them, and some that stand out are like Carpenter Lake and Lake Upsilon, Gravel Lake up in the Turtle Mountains. We got Bisbee Dam's very good northern pike fishery for bigger fish. Down to the southern part of my district, Red Willow Lake has a very nice pike population.
How about panfish, starting out with perch?
For some bigger perch, again, down in Wells County and Silver Lake WMA is probably my best bigger perch lake. Herdsfield Tuffy's also got big perch in it. And over farther east, South Golden Lake's got a decent population of adult perch.
Any other panfish?
Yeah, bluegill are abundant in some lakes. Wood Lake's probably one of the better ones. That would certainly be a good place for some new anglers or kids to go fishing because there's lots of activity. You know, if you put down some bait, you should have a lot of action.
And ice fishing is really a good time to take anybody new to fishing or just out fishing in general.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to have too much equipment. If you can find somebody that has the basic equipment, they can get you started and drill some holes for you, and you can go to work.
Okay, and our Game and Fish website has plenty of resources if you've never been ice fishing.
Yeah, that's an excellent website to find the basic information you need to go out there and be successful.
If weather allows, overall in the Northeast, ice fishing should be good.
Going into this winter, fish populations are very good. That's one important variable. Other variables like bad weather and bad access we can't control, but starting out it's very good.
A lot of great information. Thank you.